In 1972, it was the dream. Dream of Jacqueline Kennedy Onassis. In 1972, it was the dream of Jacqueline Kennedy Onassis, Senator Robert Taft Jr., and Sam Beard to use celebration to elevate America's changemakers and inspire a culture of service in this country. Today, JAF's 3 youth programs engage and celebrate over 1 million people per year.
Because of what the Jefferson Awards Foundation built, thanks to Sam Beard, over the last 43 years, what we have is the largest network of public service in America. So 4 years ago, Sam Beard came up with the idea that we should specifically just be celebrating kids doing service. Quickly, without anything other than our own network, we built what was the largest celebration of young people doing service in the country. Last year, over 1.3 million young people engaged. This year, we decided to take that to a whole new level.
Sam Beard and Pamela Jacobs-Vogt mentored us and motivated us, constantly nudging us to reach our full potential. With their guidance, we were able to come up with the plans to expand.
To date, we have distributed over 7,200 items of warm clothing valued at $300,000 to 4,800 homeless people, and we're just getting started.
And Students in Action has taught me that it's not just about you. You really have to think about others during times of need, because it'll really come right back to you.
It's more than just helping yourself, it's helping everybody. And when you feel good about yourself, then it changes your whole perspective on life.
And I know through everything I've learned this. Life is just not about living yours, but helping others continue living theirs.
Pause and consider your dreams when you were a teenager. And do you remember some of the key people and their blessings that encouraged your dreams? That's what we're here to do, to extend the blessings to all of our young people.
One of the Jefferson Awards Foundation's founding principles is yes, I can.
The Jefferson Awards has taught me that there's an extreme power in the word no. It can turn people down, it can also make them want to give up, but it can also ignite fire within.
So the hardest part is just, taking that first small step. You kept on hearing, you're too young, you're not going to be able to make a big impact. You have to wait, you have to have, power or fame or influence. And I think tonight demonstrates time and time again that there is no right age. Today is the day.
Annually, we reach over 78 million households, and we engage 1 million young people every year. We've trained 15,000 student leaders, reporting close to 20 million hours of service. In 5 years, certainly in 10 years going forward, we will impact 1 billion lives around the United States and around the world. At the age 75, my pledge tonight, in the last quarter of my life, I will surpass whatever I've done to date. I'm at the starting gate and I'm ready to rock and roll.
So this is being recorded, so they want me to use the microphone. So, okay, so that's kind of the overarching challenge that I give you today is be willing to share, be courageous, and be respectful of everyone. We all agree to that? Do we all agree to that? Okay, that's better. Good. All right. For those of you who have not met me yet, my name is Tom Basquill, and I am the Regional Director for the Jefferson Awards Foundation here in Minnesota. And a big part of my role is to be a support for all of you. We have an initiative, a program called Students in Action, and this conference is specific to groups, to teams who participate in Students in Action, whether you have been doing it for a few years. How many of you have been part of Students in Action for more than, say, 2 years? No one in the room? One. Okay. How many of you have been in Students in Action for, let's say, around 1 year or so? And how many of you really, this is like the first time you're ever getting involved with anything connected to Students in Action? Okay, great. So that means we have a lot of people who are new to the program, a lot of people who are just getting started with the program, and that's great. Before we get into kind of the agenda for the day, I want to go over a couple of housekeeping things with everybody. First off, does everybody have a pink raffle ticket that you should have gotten when you signed in? Does anybody not have one? Okay. If you're an adult and you don't have one, I'm not going to be too upset because we're going to use them to give away some prizes. And why don't we do that right now? How's that sound? So get out your pink raffle tickets. All right, first we're going to give away a St. Thomas t-shirt and a St. Thomas mug, or what is it? A cup, a travel cup. Okay. All right, now I imagine most of these tickets all start with the number 603. So I'm not even going to read 603. I'm just going to read the last 3 digits of every ticket, all right? So, and I want to see some excitement when you win, or else you might not get your prize. All right. Numbers 2, 4, 0. All right, there we go. Yeah, keep your tickets. You don't have to hand it in because we might be doing a big prize later. All right. We'll do one more for the same thing, a t-shirt and a mug. Oh. So then do you have, okay, thanks. Thanks, Dina. All right. Last 3 digits. 2, 6, 9. Oh, we got a winner over here. Okay, great. All right, we'll do one more now. Do that. Well, and one of these. Okay, this one is for a Jefferson Awards t-shirt, and this is a cool keychain wristband thing. All right. If you pull this out. All right. 2, 1, 5. We got a winner. All right. And so actually, this wristband thing, I'm just going to throw into the crowd. All right, I got to work on my arm, I guess. All right, so we'll be doing this a couple of more times throughout the day, so keep your tickets. All right. Also, housekeeping thing. So if your name tag, everybody should have a number on their name tag, and that number should be between 1 and 6. So, does anyone not have a number between 1 through 6 on their name tag? You got 5? That's a good number. You'll see why later. All right. So we'll be using those numbers later when we get around to be lunchtime. So in the meantime, I did want to talk a little bit about the agenda for the day. So we're going to have a little bit of an opening session here, talk a little bit more about the Students in Action program, just to give everybody a heads up on what's going on with that program. If the folders are ready, great, yes. Then after this initial opening, we are going to have you all go to different workshops. Now, those workshops, you get to choose from a group of workshops. You get to choose which one you want to go to. So there are 4 workshops that you can choose from in each workshop session, and there will be 4 workshop sessions. So right after this opening will be session A, and within session A, there are 4 workshop choices you have. We're bringing in folders that we will hand out to everyone that will explain what choices there are for workshop session A, and so you as an individual can choose which of the 4 you want to attend. Now, I know it's very easy to just go with all of your friends to the same workshop so that you know people in that workshop, but here's my second challenge for the day. I want to encourage you to not pay attention to what your friends are doing, but just go to the one that you think sounds most interesting, or the one that you think will help you grow and learn the most. All right? Now, I thank you. Oh, don't go too far. I'm just going to go real quick over what session A is so that you have an idea of what this will look like. So session A, the first option is going to be a leadership effectiveness and adaptability workshop called Being the Right Kind of Leader at the Right Time. So that's one option. The second option for session A is called Teamwork is Fun, and there's more of a description of it in your folder. The third option in session A is called Getting to the Point. How do you really create a headline, or how do you make a post on Twitter or using social media? How do you get the most bang for your buck using as few words as possible? This will come in handy when you're promoting your projects or you're trying to do a fundraiser and want to get really important information out. And then the fourth option is called Market Yourself with an Elevator Speech, Effective Elevator Speech. So those are the 4 options for session A, but again, there are 4 options for every session. Now, there is a trick to this, though. Session B, there's 4 options. One of them is called Bafa Bafa, if you prefer to say it that way, tomatoes, tomatoes. It is an intercultural simulation. Now, if you choose to do that workshop, be aware that that's a double workshop. So it takes the place of session B and session C. All right? So if you're committing to going to Bafa Bafa, or Bafa Bafa, right, then you are going to commit to being in that session for both session B and session C. All right? So keep that in mind as you're making your choices. All right. Does anybody have any questions or concerns about the fact that you get to choose what workshop you're going to? Any questions about how that works? Okay. So I'll give you a little bit of time before we dismiss from this opening session so you can look them over and decide which ones you're going to. And then you can just report directly to the room that they are in when we dismiss you from here. All right. Now, Okay, thank you, Barbara. Well, Barbara, why don't you come join me up here? So we are at the lovely University of St. Thomas. I myself had the privilege of going to school here, and I think the space that they're letting us use today is amazing and outstanding. I want to introduce you to Dr. Barbara Gorski. She works here at the college, at the university. I want to give her a chance to welcome you and to say a little bit. She runs a really cool initiative here at St. Thomas called the BUSN200 program. I want her to share a little bit about what that is, because for all of you, I think it would be really interesting to know and to consider as you're looking at colleges.
The piece that Tom didn't tell you is that I was his professor at one point. Yeah. I know it's hard to believe because I'm so young looking. What were you going to say? Well, I'm still holding that grade. If you'll just finish up that last paper, we can get you graded. So the program that I want to say, it's been such a pleasure to work with Tom again. We've worked together a little bit since he's graduated, but this project has been great fun. We were texting last night, and I suggested that we go off on our own, start our own thing, and do it from Mexico, because it's a little chilly here. So I haven't heard a reply to that option yet. So I'm Barbara Gorski, and I've been here at the university for 26 years. I know. So I've been here longer than all of you have been here in the grand sense of the word. The program that I run, that all of our business students have to go out into the community and do service. They do 40 hours of service with a nonprofit. And they identify what they want to do, and they figure out what they're going to learn while they're doing that, and then they go off and do that. And students have done just amazing, amazing things. In the course code, all college codes, courses have little codes to them, is Business 200. And we say that Business 200 is around the clock, around the globe, and birth to death. So I had one student for her Business 200 course. She was a birthing coach. There's a program in Minneapolis for women who don't have a partner who are giving birth, and they need a birthing coach. So the student learned to be a birthing coach and helped in the delivery of the baby and cut the umbilical cord. That's actively getting involved. Maybe wouldn't be your first choice for service, I'm hearing over here, but it's pretty interesting. We had another student who is Jewish, and I'm Jewish. And when Jewish people die, we get buried by the next sundown. And the reason we do that is we don't embalm the bodies. Okay, so we have to have a burial pretty quickly. I mean, there's religious reasons too. But one of the things that we do is to prepare the body for burial. And it's a pretty sacred event, but sometimes people can't afford to have that done, or they're wanting it done with just a little more respect than kind of just a professional person might do that. And so another student did his 40 hours preparing people for burial. So birth to death. We've had students do our course in 19 different countries. Welcome. We had a couple of students go to Uganda, where they opened a medical clinic for women, the first medical clinic for women in Uganda. These two guys were amazing. I mean, they literally built the clinic. So students have done their service in 19 countries as well, certainly as the US. And we've also had students serve as overnight hosts at homeless shelters. So we've had students working around the clock. Some students will go out and do, say, marketing for a nonprofit. They're business majors, they're studying marketing. They'll go do marketing for a nonprofit. But some students just prefer to do direct service. But it's very much the same thing that you guys are doing. There's classes they come to with myself, and a lot of the volunteers you saw work with me. And they teach these classes to reflect on what they're learning. Because I think it's one thing to go out and volunteer, but it's a very different thing to learn from the service you're doing. So we have reflection journals they keep, and then they come to these classes. And then at the end, they present a final creative project that summarizes what they've learned from their experience. So when Tom was telling me about what you guys are doing, it's like, whoa, you guys are the junior high and high school version, we're the college version. It's really pretty much very similar. We have spring break coming up, and we're going to be sending 3, maybe 4, but I think we're holding it to 3 buses of students. They get in a bus, and every day during spring break, they go to a different city, and they do service there. And then buses from all across the country, thousands of buses, will all meet in Austin, Texas. And these tens of thousands of students are going to do service in Austin. So these students are not taking a regular spring break, they're not relaxing, or they're not going someplace warm, they're cramming into a school bus, and they'll be sleeping on floors in churches and in libraries and all sorts of places, and they show up and do service in those different cities. So lots of opportunities to continue doing service as you grow up. As you're thinking about, what am I going to do after high school, recognize that the service you're doing, and one of the sessions talks about this specifically, the service you're doing, people want to know about that. It makes you very unique and very different. So people want to know about those things. Be sure to talk about those with people, whether it's college admissions or jobs you're looking at or tech schools, community colleges, whatever. People want to know about those services. So let me, can I say a little bit more about those 4 sessions? The choice A is the LEAD, L-E-A-D, and you're going to be taking an assessment to look at your leadership style and then talking about what that style means. The second one, BAFA BAFA or BAFA BAFA, is a simulation. You're going to be acting out 2 different cultures and looking at how you communicate and how you solve problems, how you work together as a team. The third one is, tell me the third one, the gentleman in the B, and what's session C? Oh, I see, okay, maybe I'll look at a handout. Thank you. Okay, so you can go to the LEAD. Oh yeah, teamwork is fun. Okay. Getting to the point in terms of communications, and then the effective elevator speech. This is something we talk about in college a lot and when you're looking for jobs, but how do you tell people who you are if you only had the time to go from one floor to the next on the elevator? You can't, like, oh, what do I say, what's important? Oh, hi. Hi, I'm Barbara. Nice to meet you, Nija. And I'm a professor here at the university, and I'm interested in coming to work at a high school. Do you know of any positions or other people I could talk to? Very good. Oh, she even had an answer for me. So can I quickly tell you who I am and what I'm interested in? Okay, the elevator speech. Any questions? Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Gorski. She didn't tell you. She's actually going to be leading the workshop on leadership. And that's why I'm telling them that you're going to be facilitating that. Okay, so yeah, a lot to think about, especially when you start to look at colleges. How does that different schools around the area, how do they handle service there? This one of the way that St. Thomas handles service is that BUSN200 program that Barbara runs. So, okay, a couple of more things I want to get to before we split up for workshop session A. So the first is the fact Students in Action is a initiative of the Jefferson Awards that really wants to help you all develop as leaders. We want to help you figure out how you can engage others in service and how you can really make a strong impact on the issues that you care about. Those are the 3 pillars of Students in Action: leadership, engagement, and impact. And at the end of every year in the spring, we do a celebration. All of the Students in Action teams are invited to come to an event, and we're going to do it right here in this room in April. and hear from each other on what kind of service did other Students in Action teams do. How did they work on the 3 pillars of developing their own leadership, in engaging others in service, and in making an impact on the community. So I want to encourage you all to consider coming and being a part of that celebration. Now, one component of the celebration is there's a competition to it as well. If you choose to participate in the competition piece, you give your oral presentation on those 3 pillars. How did you develop as leaders? How did you engage others? How did you make an impact? So on April 16th, it's a Saturday, we'll be gathered in this room and we'll invite the different Students in Action teams to come up and give their presentation. Now, we will have a panel of judges from the community that will score each of the presentations. And there's a score sheet that you can all see. So if you're going to present that day, you can see exactly how the judges are going to be scoring you. All right? In addition to that oral presentation that day, there's also a written survey that we ask all Students in Action teams to complete. And again, it's asking you those same questions. How did you develop as leaders? How did you engage others in service? And how did you make an impact on the community? That written survey is done online, and that is also scored. That's also part of the competition. So what happens is that your online written survey and your oral presentation scores get added together. And the Students in Action team that ends up with the highest score wins what we call our Minnesota Regional Students in Action competition. What that means is that your team then gets invited to send 2 students and an advisor for free out to Washington, D.C. this summer to be a part of the National Jefferson Award ceremony. And you'll be there with about 12 other Students in Action teams from across the country who won the competition in their communities. So that's there if you are driven by competition. If you really want to say, our Students in Action team is amazing, we do awesome stuff, and I want to showcase it, and I want to showcase it nationally as well, then that competition is a great way to potentially earn that recognition. But I also want to stress that that event on April 16th is really a chance for you all to share what you've been doing, to share with an audience. How did you really make a difference in your community? What kind of fun things did you do? What did you learn from that process? And getting up on front of a stage and talking to an audience, that public speaking skill is very important. It's a skill that most people are deathly afraid of. I am really uncomfortable standing here in front of you all because it's hard to be up here in front of everybody looking at me. But the more I do it, the more comfortable I start to get. So I want to encourage you all to consider being a part of that competition and that celebration on that day. And come up here and, again, be courageous to share your story of your Students in Action team with the audience. I have materials around exactly what questions you'll be asked for that online survey. And again, you'll have a score sheet to see exactly how you'll be scored on that for the competition piece. And the same with the oral presentation you give. So if that's something that you want to learn more about, let me know. Your advisors will be getting information from me about that with all the materials you need. And I really want to encourage y'all to think about that. As we go through today, pay attention to the presenters. Which ones did you like? Which ones did you think were really engaging? And what was it about them and how they spoke that you liked? Think about that as then you're developing your presentation for April 16th. Take from them what you learn, what you think makes a good presentation, a good public speaking, and then use that when you come up here and it's your turn to talk in front of an audience. Okay? The second thing I want to mention before we move on to the workshops is another initiative of the Jefferson Awards called Lead 360. And while I'm introducing that, I'd like to invite a couple of students who are out here in the audience to come up here. Jenny Wynn from Blaine and Mandy Simon from Simon Says Give, if you both would kindly join me up here. So as I said, Students in Action is the program you're all a part of. It's a program of the Jefferson Awards. Lead 360 is another program of the Jefferson Awards. And really what Lead 360 is about is finding those really cool, awesome service projects that happen around the country. And what the Awards wants to do is figure out how we, as a national nonprofit, can help take some of those awesome ideas that young people have around serving their community, and how can we activate that? How can we make those projects happen all across the country? So I want to share a couple of stories, and then I'll ask our guests to tell you a little bit more. But Jenny Wynn submitted an idea to Lead 360 this year, and there were many thousands of ideas that were submitted to our website for Lead 360. Well, Jenny's idea was one of 15 that became a finalist. So she was one of 15 young people who had her idea selected to potentially be activated nationally. Now, unfortunately, Jenny wasn't one of the top 3, but the fact that she was one of the top 15 out of thousands around the country is awesome. So I wanted to give Jenny a chance. Oh yeah, let's give it up for Jenny. So I just want to give Jenny a chance, just real quick, a minute or so, to tell us about your project and tell us about how what we did earlier this week is we actually activated her project. We had an event on Wednesday evening and that I organized, and I had about 50 or 60 people there, and we took Jenny's idea and we activated it. And so that's what Lead 360 is about getting people to do the ideas generated by young people from across the country. So, Jenny, tell us about your project and about the activation we did earlier.
Hi everyone, I'm Jenny and I'm one of the leaders for the card making project. Our Smile Cards project would bring together people of different ages, abilities, backgrounds, and also different current circumstances throughout the schools to come together to create cards for various organizations. We found out a variety of cards which consist of birthday, hello, get well soon, and many more, to organizations such as assisted living facilities, hospitals, special ed and mental health programs, and also to teachers and staff in our school. One of our goals of our project would be, of course, spreading smiles and happiness to those who may need it most. And we were able to impact over 1,000 people in our community and engage more than 300 students in our schools. Ever since the first card making shift, we were able to provide over 700 service hours, and we hope to keep this project going. And on the last Wednesday, we had an event at the University of Minnesota, and yeah, and we had other people from different organizations make small cards for us, and so that was like a great thing. Those cards were being sent to Unity Hospital, and we have a great connection with Unity Hospital, so it's great to give back to them.
Thank you, Jenny. So Jenny's idea of smile cards was just one example of a great project, an idea came up, developed by a young person, submitted to Lead 360, and then got activated by people who would have never done it before. So I also want to talk about Mandy a little bit. So Mandy, she has an amazing story. She is the founder of her own nonprofit organization called Simon Says Give, and we have a group from Simon Says Give here, right? Hey. All right, so Mandy actually just got back from New York City. I'll let her tell you why she was in New York City, but it had to do with Lead 360. So in 2015, last year, there were 3 Lead 360 projects that the Jefferson Awards were activating all across the country. All right, one of them was called Gear Going Global. It was about collecting new or gently used sporting goods and turning around and donating them to nonprofits so that we can keep young people engaged in sports. A second project for Lead 360 last year was called The Future Isn't Hungry. It was about doing a food drive, collecting food, and then turning around and donating it to a local food shelf to try to combat hunger that's happening in our community. And the third project is called Dream Boxes. And Dream Boxes is all about collecting school supplies and putting them together in packages, dream boxes, and then giving them to young people, encouraging them to go to school and to dream big. So Mandy worked with me to help activate last year a Dreambox project, and I want to let her tell you a little bit about that.
Thanks, Tom. So, Simon Says Give is an organization that started when I was 7, and this is our 5th year, so I'm 12. Yes, I'm very tall. And so we do birthday parties for kids in need, ages 5 to 12, and then in honor of my birthday, which is in the summer, we do High Five for Supplies, which is a backpack and school supplies drive. So, as Tom mentioned, I was just in New York City for the Jefferson Awards Foundation, receiving an award for being the largest donating activation team for the Dream Boxes. So these backpacks that we do, they have school supplies in them, and they all counted towards the Dream Boxes. And we have a kid board that mirrors the adult board, and so we are now a Students in Action team.
You guys can head back to your seat. So the reason I mentioned Lead 360 is because you all are here because you're interested, you're passionate about service, serving your community, volunteering. We just announced what our 3 projects are for Lead 360 in 2016. And so just real quick, I want to give you an overview of what they are. You can see them scrolling in behind me. But consider whether you want to pick one of these 3 Lead 360 ideas and activate it at your school or in your community. You have the potential, if you do it amazingly well, to get invited by the Jefferson Awards to New York City next spring and be honored there. But again, the Jefferson Awards and the service is not about being recognized for it. We're not doing service because we want to win an award. Really, we want to do service because we want to help as many people as possible. The Jefferson Awards are just a platform to tell a great story and hopefully inspire other people to want to get involved in service. So think about that. These 3 projects, Teddy Grahams for the Troops. It's a project anybody can do where you collect new or even gently used stuffed animals. And with them, you write up little cards of encouragement, and then you send them to servicemen and servicewomen who are serving all around the world, just as a way to say thank you and we support you. So if you want to do a Teddy Grahams for the Troops projects, that would be great. Second one, Survivor Packs. That was created by a 17-year-old girl. She is very involved in karate, and she wanted to help combat domestic violence in some way. So she developed this idea of Survivor Packs, which is just a package of toiletries, a toothpaste, toothbrush, anything that you might need if you were out of your home, if you were displaced because of domestic violence. So her project is to put together these Survivor Packs and donate them to domestic violence shelters. Think about if that's a project you might be interested in doing. And then the third one is called Score on Hunger. It's also addressing hunger, but it has a sports connection. The idea is that you come up with a sporting event. Maybe it's a game happening at your school. Maybe it's a Twins game or a Vikings game or a Timberwolves game. But you and your team get to pick a game, and then for every point or run or goal that gets scored during that game, then you're responsible for either getting $1 or 1 can of food donated for every point scored. So it's working with a lot of partners, but it's a great, fun, cool way to collect resources that can be used to address hunger in our community. So think about those 3 projects: Score on Hunger, Teddy Grahams for the Troops, and Survivor Packs as projects that you might consider doing either the end of this year, over the summer, or even into the fall, because we'll be doing it for the whole length of 2016. Okay? All right, so we need to get a move on to workshop session A. So again, I want you to take a look at the 4 options, choose which one you personally think you want to go to. Look for something that maybe is new to you, that you haven't experienced before. And then what you're going to do is report to the room that is associated with that workshop. Question? Yes, thank you for mentioning that, Julie. So there are some workshops that are offered more than once. So you might notice that, say, session C and session D both have the effective leadership. Is that what it is? What makes a good leader? Yes, thank you. So if you decide that you want to go to something else during session C, you can still go to that same what makes an effective leader during session D. So keep that in mind. Some of them are offered twice. So you want to plan out your day of what workshops you want to go to. Yes, it is okay to leave your jackets in here. However, I would not leave anything super valuable like a phone or a tablet or anything like that. I would keep that with you. But there's no one else is planning to be in this room. Question over here? Can you all see where the room numbers are for the sessions you want to go to? Okay, so that's where you're going to head next. And there are students out at the registration tables that can help guide you to the correct rooms. Welcome back to the auditorium. So, I'm interested to hear. I'm interested to hear how you think things went this morning. So, but first, before I do that, Tyrika, you want to come up here? Tyrika asked me a question when we came back into the room here. She said, "What is up with the duck?" So I thought I'd tell you what is up with the duck. No, come on up. The duck is going to be one of the prizes that we have today. So, and it's a quick reminder about our social media accounts that I have scrolling up there. It is very possible that the way you win the duck is to have one of your social media posts selected. So don't forget to share out there somehow on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram, using the hashtags, and talk about what you learned or a picture of someone you met, something you're going to take back with you to your school, to your team, how you're going to improve the service that you're going to do. So I'm just saying that might have something to do with the duck. But Tyrika also asked if she could help with the raffle. So do you want to grab one of the cups out of that tub there? Okay, so now I want to know. I want to know from session A. Think about session A. And think about to yourself which session you were in. Okay, I know Dr. Gorski led one on leadership. Sean from the Saints led one about teamwork and about how they came up with some of their interesting ideas at the Saints. I know there was a workshop that was done by, I'm blanking on the other ones. But yeah, Barbara did the leadership. Getting to the point, yes. Angela did getting to the point. And then what was the fourth one? Marketing yourself? Oh, the elevator speech. Great. Okay, so think about which one of those four you were in. Think about one thing that you learned from that session, session A. Does everybody have something they learned from their first session? Okay, who wants to share? Okay, you. Stand up. In the end. Come here. Come up. All right, tell me your name.
My name is Essence.
All right, Essence, and tell me what you learned from your session A workshop.
Mine was getting to the point, and what I learned is that everything should be like limited to like 3 bullet points about what you're talking about, and you gotta tell them what you're gonna talk about it, and then tell them what you just talked about.
I see. All right, so you gotta be redundant.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, Essence, thank you very much. You get a cup. Yeah. All right. Do you have another cup? All right. Session B. Think about session B. I know you're excited about session A. All right. Session B. That's for a lot of you that were in the BUFA intercultural. Session B was admissions did marketing yourself. The STLF group did core leadership. And another getting to the point. Great, okay, so think about session B. Think about something you learned. Okay, so I'll pick 2 of you. You can come up, and you can come up. 2 cups. Okay, so you have to tell us your name, your session, and one thing you learned.
My name is Niana, and the session was BUFA, And one thing that I learned is every culture has a different way as greeting and speaking to each other.
Well, great. Thank you, Miata.
Hi, I'm Madeline, and I was in the core leadership session, and we learned a lot about how in each group there's a different set of, like if there's a leader or a follower or somebody who's more more apt to sharing, and just how to work with each other in order to find each other's strengths and weaknesses in different aspects.
All right, well, thanks for sharing. All right, session C. Oh, put your hands down. I got to remember what sessions we were in first. And we got to give everybody a chance to remember something they learned. Okay, so there was Dina Simon who talked about leadership, the Bafa group again, effective presentations, and what was the fourth one? Oh, the college admissions, marketing yourself using service. Okay. So again, think about one thing you took away from your session C. Yeah, okay, please. Dr. Gorski, pick somebody. How many cups do we have left? One cup left? After that one? Okay. One more. No. Yeah, there you go. All right. So tell us your name, your session, and what you learned.
My name's Sonin, and I was in What Makes a Great Leadership, and I learned an example of bad leadership, good leadership, and great leadership. And I also learned, or Dina told, or how she talked to us that time doesn't heal, but great thing happens later.
Thank you. Thanks for coming up. You can get your cup.
The name's Ollie. I was in the I was in the same as what makes a good leader, and I said the difference between a bad leader and a good leader. So a bad leader stay next to you and watch everything you're doing, and a good leader would let you go off, explore, find out, see what works.
Okay. And so when you're going to use that when you start leading groups and in the work that you're doing at school?
Yep. Yeah.
Right, good. You can grab your cup. Thanks. Okay. So we're quickly moving towards lunch. Just a quick heads up about the schedule for the rest of the day. So after we're finished in here, you can walk straight back out to the registration table, and there will be pizza on the table for you. Now, there were just a couple of you who indicated that you needed a gluten-free option for lunch. So if that's still the case, when we dismiss for lunch, come up and see me. All right? We'll make sure we get you what we have. But for the rest of you who did not say anything about needing anything special for lunch, there's pizza. So what you're going to do is grab just a couple of slices. You can't take a whole pizza. Just grab a couple of slices, and then you're going to be going to one of the classrooms that we just came from. And there's going to be a facilitated conversation in there by some of the student volunteers from St. Thomas. All right? And it's a real good chance for you to just share a little bit about what you've learned today, about what's going on with service in your school, about some cool things that you've been able to do, or about some challenges that you've faced around service or around organizing your Students in Action team. But I really want you all to get a chance to meet other students from other schools and other SIA teams and chat and hear and learn about each other and what kind of work you're doing. All right? So, and then after lunch, we're going to you're going to go right from your lunch group to your Session D workshops, okay? And remember that the social media session is not happening anymore for Session D, okay? So we'll finish our last workshop, session D, and then we'll all come back down here again for our keynote to end the afternoon. All right? Now, I will say that we have an evaluation form that we need everybody to fill out, and we'll make sure we get that to you. Now, when you fill out your evaluation and you hand it back in, you'll get an extra raffle ticket. All right? So there's still other raffle prizes we're giving away, plus our big prize of the day was donated by the St. Paul Saints. And we'll do that at the end of the day. And it is for 4 tickets to a game in either May or June this year. Okay? And remember, you get an extra raffle ticket in the pot when you hand in your evaluation. So you have a chance of having 2. Question? To a St. Paul Saints baseball game. Question? Thanks for bringing that up. So the numbers on your name tag, that is what group you're going to be with for lunch. Okay, so everybody with a number 1 is going to be together for the lunch discussion. Now, yes, please, if you have them. Here.
Kind of got a shock there. It's very shocking working with Tom. If you have a 3 on your name tag, you're going to room 203. Pretty easy. Yeah, pretty easy. If you have a 1, you're going to room 204. It gets a little more confusing. If you have a 2, you're going to room 206. If you have a 4, if you have a 4, you're going to 207. If you have a 5, you're going to 208. And if you have what's left, you're going to room 209. 3s go to 203. 1s go to 204. 2s go to 206. Where am I? Does anybody need their number again? You're good? Okay. Hang on just one second. Just one second. Oh, I know. It sounded so. You're just like students in class, man. You get that tone where you think it sounds like they're wrapping up, and you start packing. There was something else we needed to tell.
Yeah. Yeah. So because we are the Jefferson Awards Foundation, we use our award system to honor outstanding community service and volunteerism. But really, as I said before, the awards themselves are a platform to tell a great story. Is a chance for someone who's being honored to share a little bit about what they're passionate about, what they learned, what kind of impact they made, who they helped, and how it impacted them as people. Many of you have felt that because you're out there serving the community, wanting to do good. And so we want to give a chance for some outstanding St. Thomas students to share their stories with you. So there are 3 students who are with us today. They have gone through the program, the BUSN200 program that you heard Dr. Gorski talk about earlier, about being out and serving the community. And they were selected as the BUSN200 Students of the Year this year for their work out in the community. So we wanted to honor them and give them a chance to share with you all what they were doing out in the community and how it has impacted both the community and themselves. All right? So if I can have our 3 award winners join us on stage. All right. So our first award winner is Ryan Graham. And so I will present Ryan with her certificate and allow her to share just a little bit about her BUSN200 project.
We're going to do a couple of photo ops. So you guys are going to be right up here, because here's our photographer, and I'll take this.
You two are going to hold this and shake hands in front of it. Okay. You guys watching now? And look out here to Moran. Very nice. Excellent. Okay.
Thank you. Hi guys. Oh, this is really loud. My name's Ryan, and through BUSN200, I wanted to get out of my comfort zone. And one thing that I wanted to get involved with was working with elders. And so I went to a local nursing home and just spent a lot of time there hanging out with some of the women and serving them in any way possible. A lot of times it was just hanging out in the morning and painting their nails or giving them hand massages. And then I've also been a part of Enactus, which is a social entrepreneurship organization on campus. And the idea is that you have all these skills that you're learning in school. So whether it's business skills or communication, whatever it might be, and you can apply that to serve your community. So we look at the root of the problem and use our skills to try to use entrepreneurial action to impact and create a better change. So I've really liked it, and I've learned a lot about myself. And I think that's because when you step out of your comfort zone, you really can appreciate the community more and appreciate your place within the community as well.
Thank you, Ryan. All right, our next award winner we have is Jesse Ersbommer.
Hi guys, so I chose to volunteer at Gillette Children's Specialty Healthcare Clinic because my brother has been a patient there for as long as I can remember. I worked in the Institutional Advancement Office with a new fitness program that's coming out soon. I had the honor of going around to many fitness facilities throughout the Twin Cities and advocating for the rights of those individuals with CP to exercise. It's absolutely crucial that they exercise because it improves their quality of life and the range of movement. And seeing them exercise and improve their life is such an honor. So thank you.
All right, and our final award winner this afternoon is Chantal Caro.
Yeah.
Hi guys, so my name is Chantal Caro, and I'm originally from Santo Domingo, Dominican Republic. So I really wanted to engage in service in which I was able to give back to the community where I'm from. So I volunteered in a small town called Cabarete in the Dominican Republic, and I worked with a program called the Dream Project, which is a program that provides quality education for over 4,000 kids in the country. And I was working with the Montessori children, 3 to 5 years old, helping develop language. So it's really common in third world countries for kids to develop language later than is normal. So I was just kind of helping develop vocabulary, work with the children, and just basic lessons for really young, cute kids. So it was a lot of fun, and I was able to see the impact from the beginning of my service till the end. So it was a really good experience.
Why don't we come up to the front? All right, congratulations again. All right, so we're about ready to break for lunch. Now, the St. Thomas students who are going to volunteer in the rooms, are they in here? Are any of you in here? Okay. If you guys who are in here can come up to the front. Are you? Okay. Okay, so do you guys know which rooms you're assigned to? 209, which is group 6. So if you're in group 6, you're going with these guys. This is your facilitation sheet, okay? 208, do we know what group that is? Oh, look, give me that. I got the numbers on there. Take this one. Okay. Okay, 208 is group 5. Correct. Okay, so you guys will be, your name? Kayla. You guys will be with Kayla. All right. 207, group 4. You are with?
Madeline.
Madeline. There you go. Okay, the other groups, you guys come on up. Yeah, special thing. Let's give it up for our volunteers today. All right. Which of you guys are in 204, group 1? You're in 204? Okay. Here's your facilitation sheet, and your name is?
I'm Rose.
And I'm Sam.
Okay. So group 1 is with Rose and Sam. Okay. Did I? No. Okay. Haley, do you know which room you're in? 203, which is group 3. Okay, you're with Haley. Are you? Yep. Okay, you guys go with Jay and Haley. And you guys? 206 is 207. So 206 is group 2. There you go. And you are?
Daisy.
Eric.
Eric, okay. And then Ethan, you were which with group? 207. Which we already have at 207, right? Yep, you're with Madeline too. Okay, so everybody know who their facilitators are? Yeah, we'll dismiss you by numbers. Do you have a question before we go? Yeah. It's broken? Yeah, we'll take care of it. By the way, also, if you have a cup, there's also a straw that goes with it that are up here. So we need to get you the straws. All right, now, can I get group 2 to stand up? If you have number 2 on your name tag. Why don't you guys move to the back of the room? Group 2 is going to room 206. Is that you guys? So you're taking this group. All right. Group number 4. Stand up. Group number 4, you're going to room 207. You can move to the back of the room. This is also to kind of slow the pizza line down a little bit, so not everybody is in line at once. None of you are 207? Oh, they're already out there. Okay. What group wants to go next? All right, I'm gonna pick group 1. Group 1, stand up. Yes. 204. Group 1, 204.